All right, so here we are. Today we're going to work on a bunch of different techniques of striking the ball. So we're going to start with the basic shot or strike. There's a lot of misconceptions, and it's one of the techniques that honestly is not taught very often. There's a lot of people that can demo it, but it's a difference between that and being able to explain it. So we're going to go through that. We'll have another video about bending the ball and chipping it and all that stuff, and then we'll have a video about volleys also. So first thing I want you to think about when we are shooting the ball, power. What generates the power? It's the same as it is in golf or in baseball. It's the turn of your hips. All right, so what I'm talking about is when you strike the ball, let's say I'm kicking it that way, all right? I'm here, that little turn of the hip is what generates all the power. I'm gonna show you in a second what you probably see with a lot of the people you watch, and you'll see why they aren't able to generate the power, okay? So, but we're gonna start with the basics. So if I'm striking the ball, now I'm going towards you, okay? If I'm striking the ball, first thing I want you to know is I want you to know where your plant foot should be. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is your plant foot, first of all, should be directly your arch in the middle of the soccer ball. Okay, that allows you to get over the ball. Secondly, the distance from left to right, or this distance right here, is probably the biggest mistake that is made. If you don't have your plant foot correct, it is what causes you to get the ball in the air or miskick it, stuff like that, because you have to adjust, you have to change. Okay, so when you lean, your knee should actually be in the middle of the ball. That gives you a general idea. Yes, you might be a little closer, a little further away. That is a general idea for me based on my leg length. So for you, it's gonna be different because everybody's legs are different lengths, okay? So for me, that gives me the right distance, okay? The next thing we talk about is what part of your foot you strike it with. Now, I know since you were little, everyone has told you that you strike it with your laces. Believe it or not, that is not correct. Part of your laces do hit the ball. All right, but I want you to look at my shoes right now. And on these, you can see just the left side of these laces have those targets on them right there. Those are there because when you strike a ball, your foot actually is gonna be about a little less than 45 degrees. It's gonna be right in this general area. If you strike it with your laces, it's directly up and down. If you're the littlest bit left or right, it's gonna curve and be off. Now, you can hit a good shot that way, but it's just not very consistent. Okay. The other thing I guarantee you have done or seen people do is when they shoot it like that, they kick the ground and that hurts. Okay. So we don't want to do that. So what you want to do is basically, if I'm going to strike it, I'm going to stand normal, bring my leg out and just point my foot naturally. It's the same angle as the rest of my leg. That right there gives me the ability to strike it with power, lock my ankle, and get consistency. All right. So we've got our plant foot. We've got our foot the way we want it to be when we strike it. All right, now we want to get that hip turn, okay? So what I'm talking about is if I'm striking it this way now, my plant foot, get it where I want it, okay? What most people do is they turn and they lead with their knee and their foot. And if they do that, watch what happens. My foot and my knee get to the ball before my hip. You see the shape of my body? This is what you see most of the time from people shooting the ball because they are using their muscles to create power. They are going and trying to create that power. What you want to do is you want your knee and your hip to get to the ball before your foot. So when you turn, it's here. Your knee and your hip are there. So when I start this turn, my hip is what goes. This goes before anything else, so it's here. It turns. So it's the same as a baseball swing. You don't see somebody here and go like this to swing. It's here, the hips fire, and it comes around. That's creating lag, okay? So we're talking about lag. That lag is in baseball. I'm here, my hips turn, the bat's still here. It has to speed up and go through. That is your speed. When you strike it in soccer, it's here, my hip gets here, my foot is still back here. It's gonna snap now and go through. All of that connection right there is what creates your power, okay? So that's the basics of that. Now, your follow through, okay? Everybody always says, oh, you're landing your striking foot. That is correct, but you have to make sure that you are not forcing your way through. You're not river dancing or doing something like this, all right? So what I want is when you strike it, your leg should be swinging, nice and relaxed, okay? Just enough to keep it where it wants to be, but it should not be all tense, okay? So when you strike it, your leg should just basically swing. Okay? And when you swing and you add that power, it's going to take you off the ground. So if I'm here and I strike it, it's going to take you off the ground naturally. You're not trying to kill it or anything like that. Your natural momentum is what takes you off the ground. Okay? So the simplest way to do this is you want to practice. What I want to see you do to start, and I'll show you a couple different angles, is figure out where your plant foot should be. I'm on this out here so I can draw lines and you can see it. All right, so my plant foot is there. So what I do now is I practice getting my foot the way it's supposed to be pointed and my hip. So all I'm doing is getting that hip to turn, not this, okay? I want my hip and my knee to turn, and I'm just working on getting that turn, okay? So again, I'm here in my angle. All I'm doing is you can see my hip fire. That's right there. That's it right there. That right there is this, again, this is for your shot, okay? So I'm gonna do a couple of demos and then we'll move on. So obviously I'm in a baseball field. All I want to show you, just proper technique. So we'll show you some views from here. We'll show you some views from there. I'm not gonna try to kill the ball. All I'm going to do is turn and you relax. And if you've ever golfed, like I did, I used to try to kill it and it wouldn't go very far. Once I learned from my instructor, I can relax and just let the momentum and everything take care of it. Now it goes much further. Same with soccer. So if I'm here, all right, when I run up, my plant foot needs to be there. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line. My approach needs to be a maximum of 45 degrees. If you've ever watched football, you've seen what they do. They go backwards and then they go side twice. Reason is that gives them the proper angle for their hip turn. Same for soccer. Obviously, it's not going to be that way all the time, but if you could do it perfectly, that's where you would want it. Here's why. When I run up and I get my plant foot, now my hips are here. I can get that turn we talked about. If I start from here, when I get to the soccer ball, my hip is already turned and I have to muscle my way through, okay? So real simple, start here. I'm not going to try to kill it. All I'm going to do is run up and nice and easy. Not adding power or anything like that. All I'm doing is turning, and if you do it correctly, you should actually be able to talk the entire time that you're shooting it, so that way, when you do it, it doesn't change. If your voice changes, then you've muscled your way through it, okay? So I'm gonna get a view from over here now, all right, just so you guys can see. So again, not trying to kill it. All I'm doing is getting my hip turn. So when I run up, nice and easy, you can tell. I am not trying to kill this at all. It's just nice and relaxed. And again, if you do it correctly, you should be able to talk the entire time through the shot and make it nice and easy. All right? Those are your basics. Practice the reps from the beginning. Get that hip turn, okay? Get that hip turn. If all of that's correct, you're gonna get effortless power. And that's what we want. All right? We'll see you in the next video.